Welcome back to the live stage at PlayStation Experience 2015. One of the games that really kind of intrigued me during the press conference this morning, during the keynote, one of the trailers that kind of had me the most interested was the trailer for Bound. We have the developers of Bound here with us on stage right now to take us through a little bit of the game. Welcome, guys. If anybody was left with questions from the trailer, which I think a lot of people were, can you give us kind of a quick description of what Bound is?
Well, Bound is a platformer in a way, but actually it's a story-driven game. It's the story is the most important thing of that game.
You can pick up that controller. Pick up that controller. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. Get started.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right.
So it's a story-driven game, kind of a platformer.
Yeah, it is a platformer. It has like regular mechanics of platformer. It's a third-person platformer, similar to Mario 3D World in some way, but it has some things that's pretty unique for that kind of game. Actually, it's not a game.
Okay.
And a game.
So it is a platformer, and it plays like a platformer, but it is also not a game.
Yeah, I can explain it.
You're getting cagey with me.
Okay, so my idea behind not games is like you heard about not games, like for example, Durest or Rapture.
Sure.
So my idea behind it is like my theory is that you can make every game a not game. You just remove a couple of things and it will turn into a not game. For example, like a racing game. If you will remove the task of like speeding up against other players or getting from one point to another, then you just ride the car.
Yeah.
And it's not a game anymore. So for example, in our game, like a 3D platformer, you can't fall. If you move to the edge, like try to go to the edge of the screen, and it's like you are unable to fall.
Okay.
But if you jump and actually when you miss the platform, then you can fall, but like the penalty for that is very, very small. So we are removing all the penalties, we are removing all the tasks, we are removing UI, everything, just to concentrate on the story. Because the human brains works like this. There's like two parts of the brain, like GPU and CPU in computers. So one part is responsible for logic thinking, for example, like puzzles.
Yeah.
And the other one is like for emotional thinking. If they're both working, then there's like a clash. They can't work together.
Okay.
So if you put a puzzle into a narrative game, then it breaks. So we removed every puzzle in the game because for you to concentrate on the story. So for example, you can't fall. And you know why you can't fall? Because in the first iterations of the game, when you were able to fall from the edge, then everyone was watching at the feet of the character. And when we added this edge guard, then everyone started to look around. It's like watching the background and the graphics and felt
So you're
safer.
focusing more on the task at hand instead of sort of the world and the character and the things that you kind of really want people to notice with a game like this.
Exactly.
Gotcha. That's interesting. And I love, like, let's talk about the movement. I mean, clearly this is all taken from dance.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that's amazing. That's such an interesting thing that I don't think I have ever seen before. What made you go with that?
You answered that question already. Have you seen any other game with a dancer, like where dancing moves are part of the game? Think about it.
No.
It's like
No,
there are
definitely not like
thousands
this.
of games. Like there are hundreds of games released every day, and what we are trying to do is like find some unique elements. And sometimes we tried very hard, like brute force way. It's like try every kind of direction. And one day I had a strike. It's like I haven't seen a dancing character in a game, and we were looking for a character that's a little bit crazy, that has a little emotional problems. And then I thought it's like a dancer would be a perfect one. Yeah, it's no, it's you mean it's like that she could like talk about those problems with her
Through
with her
movement.
moves, through movement.
Yeah.
So it's not like the dance the movements that we use is like part of ballerina, like a classical ballerina, and also modern jazz And some parts of, for example, like this ice skating, like you know those the different ice skating like for figure, right? So we mix also, for example, this was the balance beam, and it's like gymnastics.
Yeah.
So we're like researching through all those kind of movements, like gymnasts, dancers, ballerinas, and trying to put it in the game.
That's really interesting. So you're saying that you kind of want everything to get out of the way of sort of the story and the character, and we can see sort of the design and the dance influences that you've sort of taken into it. But tell us a little bit about this story. What is the idea here?
So it's perfect timing. So this is the part when it looks completely than the rest of the game. So right now we're like a first person and exploring some kind of other world. I don't want to like talk more about it because some parts of it are self-explanatory. Like for example, it's like happens in a different time, in a different place, so you can connect each words, each characters. But when I was saying like that our game uses this emotional part of our brain, I thought that there is a puzzle, and the puzzle is a story. So, for example, if you have played a lot of games in your life, like 20 years as a gamer, then some puzzles will repeat. And there are no longer puzzles for you. You see the puzzle and immediately know how to solve it.
Right.
So it's a work.
Push a crate to a ladder.
Yeah, it's
that sort of thing.
Yes, so it turns into work. And you don't want to work in a game. So we remove those kind of puzzles and we put emotional puzzles, so like a story, to solve it, like put the dots together. It's like reading a poem. It's at some point in your life you will like enjoy reading poems because you will finally understand it, because you will have this old background and like you can connect pieces of your life with those poems and understand it. And our game should have been rated as adult only, you know. There's like no gore, no violence, but it will be very hard to understand for like kids, for even like 20 years old people.
So it's something about kind of using the game as a way to sort of look back on life experiences and sort of common emotional sort of hurdles that we've all gone through, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think that's what I can say, and not to spoil everything, is that our story is based on like a family, like a fragility of family, and all around it. So it's naturally connected with our lives, like Karol's, mine, and other developers. We're like sharing our life stories and trying to put a common element into a game. So actually, we don't have a story, but we have a meaning, and we would try to send a message to players. Like for example, like a message of these times. You know, we can talk a lot about it, but how art works. You know how art works? So, for example, you see this picture, like paintings of painters on the museum, and you don't understand. It's like one painting is $50 and another is $50 million. It's why? Because the $50 million piece has a context. And this context can be everything. For example, it can be a life of the painter, or it can be the times, the historical pieces that are in that painting. So what we would like to show in our game is like a meaning that connects to current times. So hopefully, after like 20 years, this element will stay in that game, and someone will say, it's like, okay, it was back then, it was looked like this, and it was common. Yeah. And that was like a problem of the times, and we would like to put it in this game. Wow. It sounds complicated, but hopefully people will get it. And we were doing a lot of playtests, and some people were like saying, like, it's a game about me.
Oh, that's great.
And
that's got to be very like fulfilling for you guys.
Yeah, we would like to do it. It's really hard.
Yeah.
We'll see how it turns out.
I bet. Tell me a little bit about the architecture and the visual style here. I mean, this is a very singular look, you know.
Well, we are showing just one piece of the game, and there's like different looks, but we are concentrating on the modern art of the last century, like the beginning of the last century. So there was like a suprematism, concretism, neoplasticism, and we have all of those in a game. If you are interested in modern art, then you will be exactly know which part of the games represent which artists. We are there are some pieces that are exactly copied from those artists, and we do it by our own choice. It's not like we are like breaking the law or something. Just like to make a tribute for them.
So tell me about what's happening here, because we were doing some platforming, we were doing some exploring, and then all of a sudden we were in a place where we were just straight up doing a dance.
Yes. So
how does that work?
So the dance work is it works in a like couple of things. Like the first thing is that people like to dance throughout the game. So we were making playtests, and when they discovered that they could dance, then we're just dancing in one place, and we say like, okay, we can extend that. So we'll dance and like in a different places, maybe make pictures, maybe movies, but also the dance is connected to the story. So like the dance is like a solution for problems, and it works like this. That's, for example, you can see these trees over here. So go through it and get catched. Okay, so it looks like this. So you're being catched, but you can press the square button, which makes you like free, and you can go.
Okay.
And when you dance, okay, Karol, go back and try to
to dance. Okay.
Yeah, it's like we'll see the difference when what happens when you're dancing. So when you dance, you build this sphere of like, and invulnerability. It's like a god mode, and then you can go with, and nothing stops you. So you can just run and run through the grass. It will not stop you. You just go like a. Like
and are you able to just go into dance at any time? And are there any limitations to that?
You can dance from the very beginning of the game. We are not like unlocking a dance or something like.
Sure, but if I wanted to dance most of the time, am I able to do that? Just dance my way through?
Yes, of course. You can dance through all the game.
Okay.
Oh, okay. It's good that you've shown that there's like we have movements that make you control the speed. I would like to pass the game, so you can like move very slowly, move with the dance, or you can just rush through the game very fast.
Wow, I love that she's pulling all those in. That looks amazing. That's really cool.
So basically, these things is something that we call hazards, and in the future we'll tell more about it. But right now we just want to show it's like the chaos of that place.
Wow. That's great.
And that's it. This was the demo.
That's amazing. That's absolutely beautiful looking. Thank you guys for coming by. Yeah. And do we know when we're going to be able to play Bound?
Next year.
Next year?
For sure, next year.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Michael, Karol. Thank you for coming by.
PlayStation.